Greetings, Darklings, from across the interwebs. It is once again I, Precious Ken, the Duchess, for the Sounds and Shadows podcast. And I have with me the wonderful and talented...
It is I, Katy.
We have an extremely exciting guest, a little bit out of genre for us, which is awesome. I always love when we kind of hit some new ground and do something different. So this is a band that came to us from our dear friends at Armalite Records. And we have Dead Animal Assembly planned. And we have both Zach and Eric. Greetings. Say hello.
Hello.
Oh, hey, everybody. How's it going?
We also have to embarrass you before we even get started because
I'm always embarrassed.
I take birthdays real serious, and we have a birthday here for Eric, correct?
No.
Oh, it's Zach.
No, this guy.
He can be 41.
Yeah, I could be 41.
So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you. I wonder if we get sued for that now, because that's...
No, I think
you probably get. It's probably
Public
DMC.
domain.
Damn it.
Actually,
I think that's...
no, I think you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
license-free. Royalty-free music.
Yeah.
That,
Perfect.
We can start singing like London Bridge is Falling Down.
Yeah,
That's another roll your boat.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out here. I'm rocking my Garbage Witch shirt. So shout out to Donna. If you need a Garbage Witch shirt, go over to Donna's webpage and get one, because you'll be cooler if you have one.
I do prefer my witches being garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially having cool possums.
Oh God,
that
I love
is
possums.
adorable.
That's really cool.
I love that.
That's amazing.
That's a great design.
I like it.
So, gents, let's get started. Give our viewers a little bit of history leading in. How did this project come together? How did you get started? And what brought us up to date?
Well, it started as a solo project for me back in the day. I was in a friend's band, actually a mutual friend, Case. I was in his band, Bound in Oblivion, and I had all these ideas that didn't really work with what he had in mind for his project. So I started kind of funneling these ideas just to the side, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to do a side project, and that's actually how Dead Animal Assembly Plant came to be. For the first few years, it was just me kind of tinkering around. And then after a few years, I was like, well, I want to start doing live shows, but I don't want it to be just me on stage with a laptop. So that's when I started kind of reaching out and finding out who can I kind of bring into this to do a live show. And that is how I met him. So you can take this from now.
Yeah, so basically I was actually writing guitars for the band that he was in. It was just an album that never came out. So I was doing guitars with our mutual friend Case. Case came to me and he was just like, hey, you should, check this music out. And he told him that he knew a drummer, which apparently was me. And... And our friend Kay said, hey, I've got a friend who's doing a project, and can you play drums? I was like, yeah, of course I can play drums. So I immediately had to figure out how to play drums, and I needed to go buy a drum set.
Important things.
Yeah, well, I've programmed drums in before. I know it sounds good. I just needed to do what was in my head bring it into my appendages and just make them do that poorly, but we made it work. So anyway, I got the drum set. We played our first show, and it actually was amazing. It'd been a while since I've been on stage, never doing drums before, but doing that, I think it definitely kind of solidified something within us and in the project itself for those that are still left.
So when you say bring it into your appendages, did you actually have to get a microchip injected into your arm that made it so that you could play drums then?
It would seem that way. Yeah, it was all rectally though.
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's important to, suffer for your art sometimes.
That's very true. Yeah. But over the years, us doing shows, I think I was doing drums for us for like 7 years, and then I'd always been writing some of the guitar work and bass work as
A
well.
lot of guitar work.
Yeah, a lot of the guitar work, but because that's my first instrument, so it is what I'm, in my opinion, the best at. And so finally we were able to make a shift, and it helped with me moving down to Southern California for various reasons, and now being able to do what I really, really love is doing guitar. And so I've been doing that for the past couple of years, and kind of moving forward and having fun with that.
Nice. You guys you say Southern California, but you're based out of Portland, correct?
Yeah,
that's the easiest way to put it, is that we're based out of Portland. He used to live up here, so he moved down to Southern California a few years ago.
Okay.
But the internet, well, it makes it difficult for stuff like practice, and especially if we're doing like smaller shows in the area. I mean, like through the pandemic, we were able to write a full album for this collaboration with this Belgian artist, Mothmeister.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been great being able to still collaborate and still go forward and work on music, and not let stuff like distance put it damper things, really.
Yeah, and we've never had an issue playing like the Wasteland weekend festivals and the other bigger shows that we've done that I've flown up for. Like, we never had an issue with it. I mean, I just practice a little bit more and then show up, and we just kind of do our thing, and we just jive. Yeah, I mean, it still works. There's no issues.
Yeah,
but it's different regardless. But it's still good. It's still fun.
No, I would say out of everything, I mean, in the modern era, that's one of the coolest things, is the ability to collab over distance, especially for writing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is near limitless now. Everybody's got a home studio of some level, and just where you can bounce ideas off each other, send tracks, and then throw it over to England to have them, doing production work or anything like that, and be on a label like that. So that's really cool.
It's nice because it's like we kind of live in this golden age of the independent artist, because all this stuff that used to be afforded to people that only had studio contracts,
right,
or only could I saved up and bought this $10,000 sampler, that can hold 10 samples in it. Woo!
Yeah.
It's like now everything is it's comparatively speaking, it's inexpensive. As an independent artist, you can have merch made, and you can distribute yourself independently. You can pay for your own PR. So you can collaborate with people across the world, and it'd be seamless. So it's kind of nice today that there is so much available to everyone to kind of have that creative output.
Yeah. Next thing I really wanted to ask about for you guys is just the name. The name of this band is very cool, very, I don't know, kind of edgy, kind of, and it definitely strikes an idea or emotional chord when I heard it for the first time. Where did Dead Animal Assembly Plant come from?
So it's kind of funny because it's having a name like that. It's very divisive in a way where people either have the reaction of like, oh, that's really cool, or other reactions like, oh, that's really cheesy, that's really stupid, or they're like, are you guys vegan? Are you pro animal eating? Are you trying to make a statement?
Do you not like animals at all?
I know, it's like, I love animals. I love animals. We love people.
You're keeping it vague. You're keeping it vague. So now, tell me though.
So the actual origin of the name is a lot less exciting. So, and it was actually just a name that I randomly came across one day. So in the state of Oregon, in order to transport or store animal carcasses, you have to get a business license, and the business license is called a Dead Animal Assembly Plant.
Okay, interesting.
Which I find really funny because before, when you would do like a Google search and you type in dead animal assembly plant, it would come up with a government website listing the ordinance and what you have to do in order to get it. But now you type it in,
It comes up as us.
is this our band? So people who actually need the business license are kind of screwed.
Or at least they buy your CD first and then they move.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like, is this what I'm supposed to buy? Yeah.
Yeah.
This has to be played while the removal of the carcass happens.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're getting like a ticket. They're like, yeah, but I bought the CD. I thought that's all I needed.
You show it to the cop, you're like, this is the license, right?
yeah,
It
this
says
was
right
the
there.
how-to, right?
Awesome.
So I was watching some of your videos today, and I noticed a difference between how you look in your videos and how you look right now. I was wondering if you have characters kind of chosen for when you're on stage or in videos, and if so, would you mind sharing a little bit more about your like characters' backstories?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a drama nerd at heart. So to me, like theater has always been something that's kind of been ingrained in my DNA. So even at the onset, before this became like a collective band, it's like I knew I wanted to do something heavily influenced by theater and horror, you know, because the bands that really influenced me so much growing up, you know, like Rob Zombie or Skinny Puppy, they brought such a strong aesthetic element to their music. So you had a whole experience. So, you know, with the name like Dead Animal Assembly Plant, I wanted there to be a mythology, a backstory to it. So something that kind of gave myself initially the ability to kind of have a focus, a theme to focus on, and a character to develop. And I think as the years have gone by, and as we've gotten new band members and whatnot, it's helped people that have come in understand like, oh, I get this theme, I get what the idea is, and everyone does kind of create their own stage image. So I mean, I can't speak for everyone in the band, but I would say that like our stage personas, they're not really detached from who we are. If anything, it's kind of an extension of parts of our personalities that we only really are able to get out through the music, through the videos, on stage, you know, interacting with people. So a lot of it is like that kind of pent up frustration and that energy that we're able to get on stage. And so over the years, we've been able to develop our characters. Our makeup is constantly changing and our outfits are constantly changing because we kind of have a little bit of like ADD, like, oh no, we need to constantly be changing and moving and trying something different.
Yeah, I think everybody in the band is very creative.
Sure.
And I think that's also why you see such change, because I don't think anybody can sit down and just be like, I'm content with this, because I'm never content with anything, and so it's just like I need something to do, and you know, again, having a great avenue / outlet to, you know, kind of let that fly is super cathartic for me. And again, going back to like the on stage like persona and everything like that, I think the one thing, especially if you're at one of our shows, because like we've had comments was like, are you guys like pissed at each other like backstage or something, like, or like what the fuck happened? I was like, no, what do you mean? It was like just really aggressive towards each other.
You guys are playing a Liam and Noel game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're like a pachinko machine, basically, just set to industrial metal. Yeah, we just ram and hit each other. But I mean, you know, there's one thing I think it's definitely, especially live, it's fairly aggressive.
Mhm.
Just not really so much like the music itself. Like the music can be, you know, depending on the song, but it's just like I definitely, when I get up there, I feel very aggressive. But it's kind of like that music is just fueling that, and then you know, just like, you know, in your head from being brought up with, you know, all these dramatic looking bands, it just kind of like just spills out, and it seems like everybody in the band has this, you know, a very similar idea of when they hit the stage, like that's just what we do. It just I don't know how it actually got to that point.
I don't know either.
It
All
just
blurred.
happened. We just started kicking and and pushing each other. Like, I mean, and granted, lots for show, but like there's times.
I mean,
There are times.
it's a good way to. It's a healthy way to get out all the frustrations that you do experience towards each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Everyone butts heads, and so
That's
this
part of
is-
being a band, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
comes out, but it's everything in love, and once we're all done, it's just like, damn, that was good.
I love that and the idea of the characters. I remember there was like a small show at a place around here called Club Soda, and I saw Guar there once. And there's this pizza place next door that kind of all the bands go eat at after they play. And I'm hanging out there, and they came over, and they all looked like Moby. Like they were a bunch of indie kids with like Buddy Holly glasses and stuff. And I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
they were all like 5'6" and head shaved and indie. And I'm like, okay, that is not what I was expecting. They're like, man, that's just our character. Back up. We're just trying to eat some pizza, bro. Get out of our way. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, cool. So
Yeah.
I like that idea of dichotomy.
I get it.
Other-
I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Although,
I
I mean, we do act the same way off stage as we do
Yeah.
on stage, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, we're just we're just walking dick jokes. It's really what we are.
A lot of dick
that
and fuck
just
jokes.
love animals, and that's
Nice.
it doesn't stop on stage.
So one thing that you guys touched on a little bit that I did want to get into is usually here, I mean, our focus on sounds and shows tends to be more towards, goth, industrial, so on and so forth. And I would say when I was listening to the album a lot and seeing the videos, you have a lot of metal edge. I would even say, like, when you say industrial metal, I would say the emphasis is kind of almost more on the metal, especially, like the speed, the double bass in the drums, a lot of those aspects. Tell me a little bit about how you feel this crosses over for you, like how that metal influence comes through and how that's important to you. And do you find yourself kind of riding a line between audiences a little bit because of it? Because Armalite, I would say, is more of an industrial label.
Correct.
Generally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have very little use for genre in general, but it's hard, man. I mean, the stuff you play is stomp your feet, punch your fucking teeth in. Like, it is
Thank you.
hard.
Oh, stop.
You.
No, it is. And I mean, I would say for me, that's not really usually my cup of cocoa, but I found myself with you guys, you had just enough riding the edge of what I was comfortable with that it made me be into the metal aspects of it and be able to enjoy that, where if you didn't have those industrial aspects to kind of go along with it, maybe that would have been too far for me and too hard for me, especially vocally, which you don't always sound metal. I would say that's more where like the industrial aspect kicks in. So if you could, just tell me a little bit about what it's like being kind of a tweener band in that, and how important it is to keep those metal roots as a part of what you do.
Oh, I love being a tween band.
Yeah, God, it's been a long time.
Well, I mean, it's honestly like the progression into having a more developed metal sound. This kind of happened over the years, because if you were to go back and listen to like our first album, like All My Heroes Are Dead, it's way less metal. It's way more electronic, way more like purely industrial. And to me, because I was an industrial kid at my roots, sampling this and that and creating weird layers and using movie samples and having more of an emphasis on the percussion rather than the melody.
Sure.
And so I think that really showed through with a lot of like earlier stuff. But as we felt more comfortable, I would say, in our own skins and in what we wanted to express, and as we took on new members that had more of a metal influence in as far as their preference goes, and that's kind of one of the positive aspects about having a band unit, is that everyone kind of puts in their own personality, and it might inevitably be more metal in this one song, or maybe it is more experimental in this other song, and we've always tried to not pigeonhole ourselves. And
Yeah.
I think that's allowed us to, like I said, kind of cross genre. Like we've been able to do rock shows, we've been able to do straight up metal shows, play Knotfest. We've been able to do just straight up industrial shows like Playing with Pig.
Yeah.
But we've also been able to do like horror punk shows, playing with like Calibres and stuff like that. So we've been able to kind of jump around by towing the line, exactly what you said, between different genres. Like, oh, this song sounds kind of punk. This song kind of sounds like Godspeed You Black Emperor. This song kind of sounds like a slow trip hoppy song. It's like everything we do it with sincerity, because we don't want it to sound disingenuous. Like, it doesn't sound like trying too hard, but we also don't want to be like, well, we have to sound metal, and if we don't have blast beats, then it's not metal enough, and so let's scrap it, guys, and let's add some things that aren't unnecessary.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing of it is like, I think when writing particular tracks, like Zach was saying, just not coming off disingenuous, but just allowing, I suppose, the track as it's being created just to kind of breathe. And if a track needs a fucking weird blast beat, then I guess it needs, if that's what it needs, then that's what it needs. But if it doesn't, then don't throw it in there to throw it in there. Don't throw a pinch harmonic in there just because you want it to kind of go towards more the line of something more metal. Again, you could easily do the same thing in something low key if it needs it. And again, it's that fine balance, and kind of bouncing back and forth between particular members that are involved in the track. A lot of times, like, you might have an idea and it's just, I mean, it's a good idea, but in the end it's not going to get used. But you do what's in the best interest for the track and the album as a whole, I think. So
yeah, no, that's one that Stephen Archer has said to me before, and kind of always says to me is, you know what, like, you have to hear the track. You have to let the track talk to you, or the art piece talk to you, or whatever. And you're right. I mean, that's just going to lead you in different directions. And you guys just have a lot of tools in your bag. And I like the fact that you can kind of lean one way or the other depending on where it goes. Oh, we're right back to the dick jokes. Bam.
Oh yeah, I mean,
always.
I mean, it's been how many minutes since we made one? Too long.
Well, that's a perfect time. Katy, jump in.
Yeah, I know. Great segue. But
Well,
I mean, I have to say one of the things, like, I mean, like, some of the tracks are like A Violent Breed. I think that's definitely the hardest one.
That's hard.
The fastest, and
Yeah.
that was one that, like, just kind of breathed. Honestly, I enjoy. I had a cat on my lap as I was writing some of those guitar licks, and that was organic. That was very nice.
Organic.
Very nice with a cat on your lap and you're writing. So, but that kind of thing just happens. But, like, where his influences growing up, were similar, but also far different from mine. Where mine was,
Sure.
the harder edge, Ministry. Although we both love Ministry, but like Sepultura and things like that, that I grew up listening to, those kind of tribal drums and just driving guitars. That's my background, and I suppose that's why
it works.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah, it all works. Industrial's beat driven.
Yeah.
So was Sepultura. Why not?
okay. So with such a variety in sound and so many different stages that you've been able to play, what is the craziest thing that you've seen from stage during one of your shows?
Oh, I think that's at Wasteland.
Yeah.
Wasteland in 2019.
Where is that?
It's in the Mojave Desert, so it's in Southern California. It's like this huge post-apocalyptic festival, and they basically, in the middle of nowhere, they essentially build like a Mad Max Fallout Borderlands type city. a fully functioning city with trade and food and like people making things, and like they have
Who
bottle
runs
caps that you
Barter
trade.
Town?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
There's a barter town.
Yep.
Is there a Master Blaster?
Yeah, actually, he's a wait. Oh, I've seen Master Blaster, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, everyone's there. Usually they're DJs. But in 2019, I mean, aside from like the crowd just being like insanely energetic and just like multiple pits and people going crazy, it was actually kind of like in this between part when we're just finishing our set, because right after us was this Louis Fleischer, who has this project called the Aesthetic Meat Front. He's from Germany, and he does a lot of like the super artistic body suspension or making music out of like body suspension, body modification. He has AMF corsets, if people are familiar with AMF corsets. But he was going on, his group was going on after us. And so I guess this wasn't happening while we were playing, but it's still the craziest thing I've seen from stage. We're kind of like, loading us, getting ourselves off stage, and I turn around, and on this giant like pitchfork forklift is a giant beat up car that they just like are wheeling up to the stage and go and just dump it right at the foot of the stage. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Because for the next thing, they just had everyone crowd around it and like start beating it with like whatever they wanted to, drumsticks or hammers and stuff. And we're using it as like a percussion for the next hit.
All at the same time, or roughly the same time. I can't remember her name. She's the model. Mestima, Janelle Mestima. She was a part of this. And now all while this is going on as well, she's a suspension artist.
Mm-hmm.
She decided to get suspended from her vagina.
As one does.
As one does.
What was it? It was a Friday? Saturday? I don't know.
Friday.
Whatever one does on a Friday or Saturday to, pass the time. And it ripped.
she ripped out of her hooks.
Yeah.
On stage.
On stage. And I remember hanging out with her backstage.
No pun intended.
Yeah. And
What you're saying is, even with the F-bombs I dropped, this is not going to be a monetized video.
Oh.
No.
Did you want to keep this monetized?
No, it was too late. I'd already dropped enough F-bombs.
Oh, that should have been a warning.
Well, yeah, I should have.
No, it was too late for us. And that happened then. Let's wheel back around to the wholesome now. You mentioned before doing that track with the cat on your lap. Here at Sounds and Shadows, we are hardcore pet and particularly cat lovers. I have 3 myself.
Different pussy.
Please tell me about the cat, its name, any other cats that you may have, and why they are perfect, sweet, precious kitties.
Yeah, well, one of is a very sweet, precious kitty. That the one on my lap that was having this say in writing the track.
Supervising.
Yeah, supervising.
Yes, they do that.
That is Miss Priss, and she is almost 15.
Ooh.
But doesn't look like it. She's very
Goddess.
Yeah, she is definitely a goddess. Super long-haired black cat, and
Big floofer.
yeah, and then so she generally will sit on my lap as I'm writing music. Almost anytime that she can get. I have another black cat whose name is Laszlo, who's named after the character from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yep.
We just generally call him Bubba's. And this Monday he is getting his some of his manhood taken because he needs to,
Sure.
spay and neuter your animals.
Important. Good service
important.
message.
Yes, very important.
Thank you, Bob Barker.
Yes, thank you. So he's getting that done on Monday when I come back. So he's gonna be a little sore in the rear. So
I found the key with that is wait that day until they do something that you don't like they're eating the
they'll never
plants,
do it again.
Oh wow!
and that they're eating the plants, or they're doing it. and then just say bad cat and put them in the box and take them straight over, get the
Jesus,
operation done. And at
What a
least
way to
that
train your animal.
That is
at
dark.
least that one thing you will have trained them from
And
now
folks,
on.
that is PSA number 2. So
Oddly enough, that's also how you train your kids.
Yeah, that works good either way. Yeah.
Like, all right, we're taking you to the doctor.
Here we go.
Someone's gonna get neutered.
All right. Now I did it to myself. Another important transition. We're going to move along. We here at Sounds and Shadows are a music review page that is important to us. And so I always like to ask everybody that we're interviewing, what is it that you're listening to right now and that is getting you fired up?
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
you in the back.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
Hand up.
Hit me.
You sir.
2 in particular. Actually, I was just showing Zach one of the bands.
Yeah.
So one is Code Orange, their new album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Very cool.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
What a dynamic album and just crazy. I mean, talk about a band that's all over the place, but yet
Mhm.
fully centered at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was actually showing Zach Jay Weinberg's from the drummer from Slipknot, his
Yep.
cover of you You and I Alone, or You and it's in the YouTube thing. Anyway, a great album all
YouTubes.
around. The second album, though, I gotta say though, is Gojira, Fortitude, their new album, which again,
I don't know it. Tell me about it. Hit me.
Gojira is just an amazing metal band already.
That's
Now,
why I don't know it. Okay.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, now this album Fortitude though is actually climbing up the Billboard charts.
I think it's the top selling album in the
Ooh.
country right now.
Yeah, nobody it's
Yeah.
one of those albums where you're just like, I'm sorry, wait, what? And what band is doing this? But when you listen to it, I mean, one, the amount of talent that this band actually has as a whole is astounding. I mean, I'm nowhere near that level, and it puts me to shame. I'm just like, well, I'll pack stuff up now.
It's time to leave.
Yeah, but I mean, vocally, musically, how it's arranged, I mean, and super kudos to the production team and engineers behind that, because it sounds incredible. I mean, those 2 right there are probably some of the albums. I mean, those have been on my playlist for the past couple of days.
Nice.
So that's what's getting me fired up and ready to rock and yeah.
On the
Heck,
opposite
you got one to
side
add?
for me,
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Amigo the Devil.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, and you know, I love Murderfolk.
Yeah.
And he's like the top of the game. I mean, because I just
For
like
sure.
I
Alan's a
love
big fan. My bass player is a huge fan of his. Yeah,
he's
theirs.
so good. Like because he's like in the vein of like Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen,
Yeah.
Johnny Cash. So it's just like he's a storyteller, and like for me, like being like a vocalist, lyricist,
Singer, sure. Yeah.
you know, it's I always listen to the lyrics, and
Yes.
it's a huge part of it for me. And then like you know, that's why I've also been doing like another kind of going back and doing a deep dive with all of like Jim Thirlwell stuff, like
Very cool.
Fetus and all his side projects. And he is such an amazing. See, I don't have cats. I have 2 loud dogs. So you can
I hear that.
No, they're
Yeah.
they're cats.
Yeah, well, they're basically cats. They're like
That
cat
sounds
dogs.
very Pomeranian or something like that. you know?
They're chi pins. They're Chihuahua min pin mixes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But just as opinionated as that. And actually, I've been, you know, I don't care. I've been listening to a lot of Poppy. I really like Poppy.
Poppy is freaking I was going to say, when you brought up like kind of not making sense on it, Poppy made one of the best industrial albums of last year. And then whatever, that's just true. It's just
out of
a
nowhere.
clear statement.
Like, I disagree. Is a really good album.
It is a great album.
And I know she gets a lot of crap for having that pop element, but it's just like,
Good is
Who
good.
cares?
And that shit is good.
yeah. And people talk a lot of crap about pop because it's just like, oh, it's so simple or so mainstream. It's just like, yeah, but you have to be objective about it and look at why is it simple?
Yeah.
Why is it mainstream? Is because sometimes less is more. There's that editing element to it that you can do a lot with less, with production, with what you're trying to say, you
Right.
know, with, you know, if there's so much going on then it becomes too convoluted. Whereas sometimes if you just strip it down to the bare bones, then you have a bigger impact.
Yeah. Whew. Man, we're cooking along and I'm just having fun talking with you guys, but I want to make sure. Katie, do you have any other questions? Because I do have one really important one I want to get to. So.
Okay, I have a question, and I'm like afraid that it's gonna be the same question that you're gonna ask.
Oh,
I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Yeah, go ahead, do it anyway.
I'm gonna do
Sorry,
it.
we got distracted by your cat.
She's freaking out. She's okay.
Oh
Okay,
I've been
sorry.
seen.
no!
Zach, I noticed that you have a lot of tattoos on your arms. Do both of you have tattoos? And if so, do any of them resonate any type of like super meaning? Like, do you have a favorite? It doesn't matter if it's good. It can be really bad too. I just love looking at tattoos.
Oh yeah, I'm a mess.
Or do you have a shop over in Portland too, in addition, you want to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, so my friend Robert, who tattoos at Thought Crime Tattoo, which is in downtown Portland. It's like the best shop I've been to. He's an amazing artist. He's actually working on a full back piece right now for me. I mean, I have a bunch of tattoos that have a lot of meaning, but I would say the piece on my body that maybe has the most personal meaning to it is on my foot. One of my good friends years ago, who's a piercer, he actually did some scarification. He cut a toe tag on the top of my foot because my dad passed a while ago, so he carved in my dad's initials, and my dad was cremated, so he actually took some of my dad's ashes and he rubbed it in the open wound. So it's a little faded now. I've actually been meaning to get it like actually tattooed on me.
Sure.
So even though it's not like, a big, beautiful piece of tattoo work, it just was such an intense personal experience, and with a lot of meaning. So I would say if there's anything on my body that has the most meaning, it would be that. The rest of me is meaningless in general.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
he
that's
has a
very
bunch of tattoos too.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
Yeah, they're covered, but I've got a full sleeve on my left arm, and then I've got I think like half a sleeve on the other arm. And
Give a shout out to Ryan.
yeah, my boy Ryan Burke over in he actually owns a Necropolis tattoo over in Forest Grove. He is my dude. Pain in the ass to get to, but definitely well worth the time and art. So,
I mean, how old were you guys when you got your first tattoos?
18. I started as soon as I could because my parents would have actually they did not let me get any piercings before I was 18. They were like, you can't get anything pierced other than your ears. And I'm like, well, joke's on you. Not only am I gonna get piercings, but now I'm gonna hang from hooks. Take that, mom and dad.
it's quite the rebellion.
Yeah, well, but yeah, 18.
Yeah, I was mid-20s, I think. I think roughly mid to late, I think. Yeah, it's kind of vague.
What about you guys?
I was doing
Tattoo.
Well,
favorite tattoo.
I'm like Eric. I have
Lots of dicks tattoos.
business tattoos because I'm secretly like a goth banker. So I have tattoos
Professional
everywhere.
goth.
But while you're wearing a t-shirt or a polo, you'd never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they're all there. They're
That's a smart way to go about it. Like that's really smart. Like you can
long-term
thing
thinking.
shirt. Yeah, I'm dumb, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get my hand tattooed. I'm gonna get my face tattooed.
I do have one that's
stupid.
Not this one. I do have one that's special for today because it's Grace Jones' birthday, and I have Grace Jones as a archangel with a sickle on my arm.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So that's a special one for today because it's Grace. You share a birthday with Grace Jones.
Girl.
Oh,
Girl.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah.
Hello, Zachary. Oh God,
going
Grace
to-
Jones. My.
We always roll out to one of your songs and play. And in particular, there was one off this last album, which we didn't say yet, but is Bring Out the Dead. So I want to give a shout out to that.
Oh, yeah, that
But
guy.
in particular, you guys did a cover on this album that floored me. And it's a song that it's an old folk song, right? God is going to cut you down. But in addition, Johnny Cash covered it, right? And anytime Johnny Cash covers a song, that's his song afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah. Except for Hurt, that's still Trent's. Damn it.
No, that's
But I will
Johnny
say,
Cash.
Johnny Cash, man, he knocked it out of the park.
He
Dude.
owns
It's
that
just
now.
so much.
That's
so
his
much
song
better.
But
He's
this
dead,
is
let him
such,
have it.
especially for you guys being a metal centric, industrial band. It's a folkish kind of song originally, and you kind of talked about how much you like kind of the Murderfolk idea, or but it just floored me when I heard it, and I'm like, it's so intense and so hard, and then I'm like, oh fuck, is that song Johnny Cash covered? And so I fell in love. I thought this was absolutely astounding. And why don't you set up the scene for this? What led you to want to do that cover? And you had a guest vocals on it too, correct?
Yeah, so so that cover has kind of like a longer backstory because so a few years ago it was actually Eric. Eric's just like, hey, let's do a cover of God's Gonna Cut You Down, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
It's a great cover, it's a great song. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, I love covers. I love Johnny Cash. And so is when I was looking into it is when I discovered like, oh, he didn't write this. This is just like an old turn of the century folk song that's been done over a million times, kind of like Stagger Lee, that song's been done a million times. Or All the Pretty Little Horses. So
which we did a cover of.
Which we did do a cover of, actually.
Very long time ago.
A long time ago. It
Never
doesn't
see
exist.
the light of day.
It doesn't exist anywhere. We played it once live.
Yep,
And that's it.
That's it.
So when we first did it, the first iteration that we did has guest vocals from Eric of Adoration.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and I'm going to go look that up.
If you want to actually not only hear it, but if you want to see that music video like professionally done, and Eric's in it, you go look us up on YouTube, and you will find that version. It's a completely different version than what you're talking about on the album. So you got a two little.
I'm going to find that for my personal benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about the album version.
Yes.
So how the album version came to pass is. So we completed the album Bring Out the Dead in 2019, right before we went on tour. Mm-hmm. So we had our friend Fernando. We gave him all the stems, and he mixed it while we were on tour. So when we got back, we jumped into the studio and we did some final tuning, mastering. All right, it's done. And that's when Armorlight actually hit us up and was just like, hey, we want to release the album, because I had sent a link for early download to Giles, and he was like, hey, we want to release the album on our label. I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. I love you guys. Amazing artists on there. I mean, I love Raymond Watts. I mean, he's one of the reasons why I do music. So to be on the same label as Pig was just like, oh. So because of the pandemic, it couldn't get released. It was supposed to come out in April of 2020, but that was like the thick of everything that was going on. There was so much happening with the election, the protests, the pandemic, and so much uncertainty that there's like, we want to delay releasing this. I'm like, that makes sense. Like, I respect that. So that's why it came out this year. So with that extra time, they were just like, hey, since we have this extra time, do you have any bonus tracks that you want to put on there? And then that's where we put an Iron Face, and with a week or week and a half to a deadline, I actually reached out to Fernando, the guy who mixed it, and we had talked about wanting to work on music together for a little bit, and I had these vocals from another Portland artist, goes by Outer Stacy, of Fatana and Time Bitch, and they had done some of the stuff for the Riveting compilations,
Yeah.
And she has an amazing voice, amazing vocalist.
Yeah, I
And
like them a lot. My friend DJ Sonic Sylvia has played them for me before.
Nice. Yeah. Beautiful people, wonderful musicians. And it's funny because, like, you know, their drummer actually used to be the drummer for Mr. Bungle back in the day. So it's like there's this bursting with talent.
So crazy.
And so with this a little bit of time and me having these vocals that she sent me, because a while ago, it's like, oh, it would be great to do like a different version using some of your vocals. And so had been sitting on them for a while. I'm like, hey, Fernando, do you want to just let's just do like a completely different version of the song, and let's just see what we come up with. And he spearheaded that version because I kind of wanted to give him more of that creative control and me to kind of do a secondary aspect to it. And yeah, that's what came out with. And he mixed and mastered it, and he did such a phenomenal job. And yeah, no, it was fun to breathe life into a song that we had been doing for a number of years, and it was just kind of cool to do something different with it. And I love Stacey's vocals. She has such a powerful voice, and I think her voice adds a whole different dynamic to it.
Well, I absolutely fell in love with it. We are going to roll it as we head out. It has been a true pleasure talking with both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for this. Everyone needs to check out the album, and hopefully you guys have shows and tour coming up soon as life begins to get back to normal, hopefully, fingers crossed. So we will roll out with the cover off the most recent album here of God's Gonna Cut You Down.
And we're going to be, not to cut you off, Zach's Gonna Cut You Off, which is a different song. But we are going to actually, speaking of performance, and why Eric is up here, is we're going to be doing a live streaming performance this Saturday from Primal Recording Studio in Portland. So it's going to be full band, full performance. It'll be live streamed for free on our Facebook.
All makeup up.
Oh, full everything. So
is it going to be on Twitch or anything, or just on your Facebook?
It's only going to be it's going to be simulcasted on our Facebook and on not our YouTube, but a different YouTube channel. Because we wanted like the biggest outreach. So and we, I just started really doing the Dead Animal Assembly Plant Twitch streaming, which it'll
get there.
Exactly. But our Facebook has a more built-in like audience, so it's like, well, we wanted to do more to reach out and just entertain people on a bigger scale rather than try to pull in Twitch viewers, kind of thing.
Well, I'll be there. We'll include the link here on the interview when we do this. And from us here at Sounds and Shadows, this is us reminding you to keep it fucking dark,
and be safe, and fucking try to be nice to each other. God damn it. You can be dark and not a shithead.
Also spay and neuter.
And spay and neuter your pets.
Also your children.
And your local pedophile. Spay and neuter them with a bullet in the head. Oh, no, okay.
Wow.
Tell you the news, my head's been wet with the night dew.